Have you ever thought mornings were the safest, most peaceful part of your day? I used to think so too. But then a patient named Don came into my life and changed how I see every sunrise. Don was 72, a retired teacher from Texas, full of life, energy, and routine. One morning, like he always did, he jumped straight out of bed. No stretching, no sitting up slowly, just up and moving. But this time, something went wrong. Within seconds, he collapsed, hit the nightstand, passed out cold. When he came to, he was rushed to the hospital. The diagnosis? Orthostatic hypotension, a sudden drop in blood pressure that starves the brain of oxygen. That fall revealed a hidden blockage. That same day, he had a stent placed in his artery. Don's story has a happy ending, but not everyone is that lucky. And here's the part that might surprise you. Don wasn't sick. He took his medications, watched his numbers, ate well. But still, one routine habit, getting out of bed too fast, nearly cost him his life. What if the danger isn't just in what you don't do, but in what you've been doing for years, thinking it was harmless? Today, I want to talk to you about the real risks that hide inside our morning routines and what you can do about them. After more than 30 years caring for hearts and brains, I've come to realize something that still surprises people. What puts the brain most at risk isn't always disease or even genetics. It's repetition. It's the small things, the quiet habits we do every morning, every year, the things we barely notice. You might be someone who takes your medications faithfully. You check your numbers. You try to stay active. You're doing everything right. And yet, something still feels off. There's a reason for that. You see, most strokes don't happen out of nowhere. They're not just bad luck. They're the final step in a long, invisible chain, one that begins with the way we wake up, the way we breathe, move, eat, or skip a glass of water. We don't think much of it. We call it routine. But the brain is sensitive. The circulation system that supports it, even more so, especially after 60. With age, our arteries stiffen, our sensors slow down, our margins for error shrink. What we used to bounce back from at 30 now takes a toll. And here's the most important part. You're not powerless. That's why I created this channel. Not to scare you. Fear freezes people. But knowledge frees you. And knowledge becomes protection. Today, I'm going to walk beside you through 7 of the most common morning habits I've seen quietly contribute to strokes. I'll explain why they matter, what's really going on inside your body, and most of all, how to replace them with small, powerful shifts that protect your brain, starting tomorrow morning. Because even one change could make a difference. Even one habit can save a life. Maybe yours. What if I told you the most dangerous moment for your brain isn't in the middle of the night, or during a stressful phone call, but in the first 60 seconds after you wake up? That might sound backward, but those quiet few moments, when your feet haven't touched the floor yet, are some of the most critical in your entire day, because that's when your body shifts, your blood pressure rises, your brain starts asking for oxygen, and if you move too fast, or skip the water, or add strain too early, you may unknowingly be setting off a chain reaction that weakens your brain's defenses. Not all at once, but slowly, repeatedly, every single morning. The good news is, you can interrupt that chain. You don't need to overhaul your life. You just need to understand what's happening and make a few smart, gentle changes that give your brain the time, hydration, and support it needs to start the day strong. And that's what we're going to do now. Let's begin together with the first morning mistake. What's the first thing you do when your alarm goes off? Do you lie there for a moment, breathing, waking up slowly? Or do you swing your legs over the bed and stand right up, ready to take on the day? If you're like many of my older patients, especially those who spent their lives working hard, you probably still feel that reflex to get up and move. It feels efficient, like energy, like discipline. But here's the hidden truth. That sudden move from lying flat to standing upright might be one of the most stressful events your brain faces all day. There's even a name for it: orthostatic hypotension. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It simply means your blood pressure drops when you stand up too quickly. Why does that matter? Well, while you sleep, your blood vessels relax. Your pressure drops naturally. Your system slows down. Then, in one motion, you go from horizontal to vertical. Gravity pulls blood into your legs and belly. In that instant, your upper body and your brain loses up to 800 milliliters of blood. That's almost the size of a soda bottle. Now, in a younger person, that's no big deal. Their blood vessels are springy, their sensors are sharp, their heart quickly adjusts, and blood rushes back up. But after 60, things change. Our vessels stiffen. The little sensors that should tell your brain, "Hey, we're low on oxygen," they don't react as fast. They might delay by several seconds. And if you're on blood pressure medication, your baseline is already lower. What happens then? You stand up and suddenly feel lightheaded. You see stars. You wobble. You think, "I must have skipped breakfast," or "I just stood up too quick." But that feeling, that moment, it's not harmless. It's your brain starving for blood and oxygen. And if there's a plaque in your artery or a clot forming, that moment of low pressure might be enough to cause it to move, or block, or rupture. That's how some strokes begin. So what's the smarter way? Instead of rushing to stand, give your brain time to catch up. It only takes 60 seconds. We call it the 60-second rule, and here's how it works. When you wake up, stay lying down. Take a few slow, deep breaths. Then, sit up. But don't swing your legs down yet. Wait about 30 seconds. Let your system adjust. Then, place your feet gently on the ground and stay seated another 20 to 30 seconds. When you feel ready, stand slowly. Use support if you need it. That's it. Instead of jumping into the day, give your brain the gift of blood flow. You're not being slow, you're being smart. Because a steady morning means a safer brain. So, let me ask, have you ever had that dizzy feeling when getting up? If so, you're not alone. Don in Texas felt it too. And that 60-second pause might be exactly what prevents the next close call. Try it tomorrow. See how you feel. Your brain deserves that minute. Let me ask you something simple. What's the first thing that touches your lips in the morning? For most people, it's coffee. That warm, comforting smell. That familiar taste. It feels like the official start to the day. But if your brain could talk, it might be begging for something else. Here's why. When you sleep, your body loses water. Through your breath, through your skin, just from the hours of not drinking. By morning, your body, and especially your brain, is mildly dehydrated. And your brain is 75% water. Even a small drop in hydration makes your blood thicker. It's no longer flowing like water. It starts acting more like syrup. That thicker blood puts strain on your vessels. It flows more slowly. It carries less oxygen. And yes, it becomes more likely to form clots. Now think about what coffee does. Coffee tells your kidneys, let's flush some water out. It speeds up dehydration even more. Then, the caffeine kicks in. It makes your heart beat faster. It tightens your blood vessels. It revs up your nervous system. And now, you've got thicker blood, tighter arteries, and a jump start to your pressure. That's not energy. That's pressure your brain didn't ask for. Instead of helping your brain ease into the day, coffee, taken too early, can throw it into a storm. But here's the thing. I'm not telling you to give up coffee. I'd never take that joy away. What I am saying is this. The order matters. Instead of coffee first, try water first. One big glass, 12 to 16 ounces of room temperature water, before anything else. Not ice cold, not flavored, just plain, gentle water. Let that be the first signal your body receives in the morning. That water thins your blood. It rehydrates your tissues. It wakes up your digestion. It prepares your brain for everything to come. Wait 10 to 15 minutes. Then, by all means, have your coffee. But now you're giving it to a body that's ready for it. You're choosing clarity over caffeine shock. And studies support this. One international study found that drinking more than 7 cups of water per day was linked to a significantly lower risk of ischemic stroke. That's a habit you can feel good about, starting tomorrow. So, are you someone who always grabs coffee first? Or have you already felt the quiet strength of starting with water? Share it in the comments. Someone might read your words and find the courage to make this one small, but life-saving change. Remember, your first sip shapes your whole system. Let it be something your brain truly needs. Let me ask you something that might surprise you. What's on your breakfast plate? Many of my patients tell me, "Doctor, I eat healthy every morning. I have whole grain toast, sometimes cereal, oatmeal too." And I believe them. Those choices sound healthy. They sound familiar. They sound safe. But here's the quiet problem. Some of the most common breakfast foods, the ones marketed as good for your heart, are secretly packed with sodium. That's right, salt. Not just the kind you sprinkle on eggs. I'm talking about hidden salt. The kind baked into bread, stirred into flavored oatmeal, blended into cottage cheese, or sitting quietly in those heart-healthy cereals. Now, why does this matter? Because every morning, your blood pressure naturally rises. It's part of your body's wake-up rhythm. But when you add a salty breakfast on top of that rise, you're throwing fuel on the fire. Salt pulls more water into your bloodstream. It increases the volume of blood flowing through your arteries. And when you push more water through the same pipe, pressure goes up. That strains your heart. But more importantly, it damages the delicate inner walls of your blood vessels, what we call the endothelium. Over time, that damage leads to inflammation, plaque buildup, clot formation, and eventually, stroke. Now here's the tricky part. You might think you're staying well under the salt limit. But did you know that just 2 slices of bread and a bowl of cereal can contain over 600 milligrams of sodium? For older adults, the American Heart Association recommends less than 1,500 milligrams a day. So, with just breakfast, you're nearly halfway there. So, what's the better way? Become a sodium detective. Flip the package over. Look at the label. Choose plain rolled oats instead of the flavored kind. Add banana slices and a few unsalted nuts. Instead of sausage, try a boiled egg with half an avocado and spinach. Those are loaded with potassium. And that's key. Potassium is salt's natural antidote. It helps your body flush out excess sodium. It relaxes your blood vessels. It brings pressure down gently. Or swap toast for a small bowl of Greek yogurt with berries. Greek yogurt tends to have much less sodium than cottage cheese. See the pattern? You're not giving up breakfast. You're giving your brain a better one. So tomorrow morning, when you open the fridge or the bread drawer, pause. Ask yourself, is this food helping my brain's blood flow or hurting it? Because every choice adds up. And the brain you protect tomorrow starts with what you chew today. Have you ever felt a little dizzy for no clear reason? Maybe you had numbness in your hand or your cheek, and then it went away. Maybe you couldn't find the right word for a second, and then it came back. It's easy to brush these off. I'm just tired. I didn't sleep well. Maybe it's low blood sugar. But let me be clear. These are not nothing. These are something. They are your body's quiet whispers, and if you ignore them, they can become a scream. What you may have experienced is what we call a TIA, a transient ischemic attack. Some call it a mini-stroke. But I want you to understand, there's nothing mini about it. A TIA happens when a small clot briefly blocks blood flow to your brain. Then it dissolves or moves, and everything feels normal again. That's why the symptoms fade. But here's what most people don't know. A TIA is the #1 warning sign of a major stroke. In fact, people who have a TIA are up to 10 times more likely to suffer a full stroke in the days or weeks that follow. So, what should you do? Acknowledge, document, act. First, acknowledge the symptom. Don't minimize it. Second, write it down. Note the time, the date, what you felt, how long it lasted. That note could save your life. Third, call your doctor. Don't wait. Don't wonder. Don't talk yourself out of it. Say this exact sentence. I think I may have had a TIA. Those words trigger the right response. They lead to tests, scans, action, before it's too late. One woman in our community, age 70, said this video helped her recognize the signs she had dismissed for months. Slight facial numbness, words slipping away, and she finally saw her doctor. She's now on medication, and she caught the problem early. That's the power of listening to your body. So let me ask, have you ever had one of these moments? Don't ignore them. They are not just aging. They are not just fatigue. They are like smoke rising from your attic. You wouldn't ignore that, would you? Then don't ignore your brain's signals. Because with a TIA, you don't need luck. You need action. And you can start that today. Can I ask you something personal? Do you take your morning medications at the same time every day? Do you take them with a full glass of water? Or, if you're being honest, do you sometimes forget? Or take them with a sip of coffee? Or rush through the routine? You're not alone. But here's what I want you to understand. Your morning pills are not just pills. They're your protection. They're the armor your brain and heart rely on, especially in those first few hours of the day, when pressure surges and blood flow is shifting. Blood pressure meds, blood thinners, cholesterol pills, these aren't optional accessories. They are time-sensitive tools. They need to be taken correctly to do their job. When you skip a dose, your pressure can spike unexpectedly. When you take them with coffee, your stomach may not absorb them well. When you take them with just a sip of liquid, they may not even dissolve properly. It's like heading into battle and leaving your shield behind. So what's the better way? Make it a ritual, not a chore. Use a weekly pill organizer. It shows you instantly if you've taken your dose. Set a daily alarm on your phone. something that becomes part of your rhythm. Tie it to an existing habit. After I drink my morning water, I take my pills. And most importantly, always take your medications with a full glass of plain water. Not juice, not coffee, just water. That water helps the pills break down. It helps your body absorb what it needs. It ensures the medicine reaches your bloodstream where it can protect you. You might think, I've been doing it this way for years, and I'm fine. But the truth is, stroke risk increases not just from what we do wrong once, but from what we do inconsistently over time. So let's change that. Let your medication routine be sacred, calm, predictable. Because skipping one pill might not seem like a big deal today, but tomorrow your brain might wish you had taken it. Let me ask, what's the very first signal your body gives you in the morning? For many people, especially as we age, it's not hunger. It's not thirst. It's the urge to pee. But here's what surprises most of my patients. Holding it in, even just for a little while, can put unnecessary strain on your body, especially your cardiovascular system. When your bladder fills overnight, pressure builds inside. And when you ignore that pressure, maybe because you're finishing a news segment or trying not to rush, you're putting added stress on an already vulnerable system. Here's what happens inside. Your full bladder stimulates your sympathetic nervous system, the same system that handles fight or flight. It triggers a surge of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Those hormones raise your blood pressure, speed up your heart rate, and increase vascular resistance. That may not sound like much, but if your vessels are already stiff, if you're dehydrated, if you haven't taken your morning meds yet, this added stress can tip the balance. It's especially risky in the first hour after waking, when your body's natural blood pressure is already climbing. Now, let's add one more layer. Many people say, but what if I have to go as soon as I wake up? Should I still wait for the 60-second rule? That's a good question, and the answer is, you can do both, safely. Instead of jumping up fast, here's a modified version. Wake up. Take just 2 or 3 deep breaths while lying down. Then roll to your side. Sit up slowly. Plant your feet. Then stand, gently, with support if needed, and walk to the bathroom at a steady, calm pace. You don't need to rush like the house is on fire, because the danger isn't the need to go. It's the way you respond to it. So instead of bracing, holding, and rushing, which spikes your blood pressure and floods your brain with stress, you're giving your system time to adjust, time to flow. That's a small act of protection. And over time, that one choice, calmly responding to your body's signal, may protect the very circulation your brain depends on. So tomorrow morning, when that first urge hits, don't delay. But don't rush either. Meet it mindfully. Because the path to a safer brain often begins with how we respond to life's simplest needs. Be honest. What's the first thing your brain sees in the morning? Is it the morning sun through the window? Or is it your phone? A flurry of headlines, a breaking news alert, an email from your doctor, a text that makes your stomach drop. We've all done it. We reach for that phone before our feet touch the floor. We check in with the world before we check in with ourselves. But here's what your brain goes through when you do that. The moment you absorb stress, even in the form of a headline, your brain activates your fight or flight system. It floods your body with cortisol, your main stress hormone. And cortisol, especially first thing in the morning, does more than make you feel anxious. It raises your blood pressure. It stiffens your arteries. It inflames your vessel walls. It's like starting your car by slamming the gas pedal before the engine has warmed up. Now, instead of waking into calm circulation, your brain is trying to operate under pressure, tension, and overload. And if you already have high blood pressure, diabetes, vascular disease, this daily shock, repeated over years, can be enough to accelerate damage and raise your stroke risk. But here's the hopeful truth. You can flip the switch. Instead of rushing into the digital storm, create a buffer zone, just 15 to 30 minutes, with no screens, no news, no urgent noise. What do you do instead? Open a window and watch the sky change colors. Say a quiet prayer or intention for the day. Put on soft music. Stretch your shoulders. Breathe deeply. Or just sit, doing nothing. These aren't silly rituals. They're nervous system protectors. They tell your brain, you are safe. They ease your blood vessels open. They calm the cascade of stress hormones. They give you a gentler start. Instead of reacting, you're responding. Instead of rushing, you're receiving. So tomorrow, before you grab the phone, pause. Give your brain the grace of quiet. Let your morning set the tone for a day that's steady, not stormy. Because your brain deserves peace, before pressure. And you deserve a start that protects, not provokes. Let that be your new routine. Let's take a moment to breathe. We've just walked through 7 small habits. Simple routines that many of us have done for years without question. Getting out of bed too fast. Drinking coffee before water. Eating hidden sodium. Ignoring small symptoms. Misusing medications. Holding your bladder. Flooding your brain with stress. None of these on their own may seem serious, but repeated, morning after morning, they quietly wear away at the delicate systems that keep your brain safe. It's not bad luck. It's not inevitable. And it's not too late. You have more power than you think. I want to remind you, this isn't about being perfect. This is about being aware, about choosing one small shift and sticking with it. Maybe tonight, you'll place a glass of water on your nightstand. Maybe tomorrow, you'll sit for 60 seconds before standing up. Maybe you'll look at your cereal box label just a little more closely. Every choice you make is a vote for your future, a vote for clarity, balance, independence. One of our viewers, Stella, age 77, said it best in her comment. I didn't use to drink water, but I will now, thanks to you. That's the kind of courage that changes lives, and you can do the same. So, what will you start with? One habit. One morning. That's all it takes to begin. Because stroke prevention isn't a single moment. It's a series of small, wise choices. And your next one can start the moment you wake up. Before we end, I want to ask you directly, which of these habits surprised you the most? Which one will you try tomorrow morning? Share your answer in the comments, because your story, just a few words, might be the exact thing that helps someone else feel seen. And take that first step too. And if this message gave you even one new insight, please take a second to hit that like button. It helps this video reach more seniors, more parents, more neighbors, more people who deserve to feel safe in their own mornings. And if you want more clear, calm, medically grounded tips like this, subscribe to the channel. This is just the beginning. Because I believe every person over 60 has the right to wake up feeling steady, not scared, clear, not confused, strong, not stuck. Let's protect that together. One step, one change, one morning at a time. You've got this, and we've got your back.